Hey guys, welcome back. In this class, we are going to be talking about how to handle setbacks. Naturally, as you progress through your life, whether you are working towards your goals or you're simply existing, you are going to have setbacks. And we can't be naive to the fact that even in our most well-rounded state where we've worked on this and we've worked on that, there is going to be situations that we can't foresee. Even the most well-trained athletes that are the top of their game suffer from injuries. No matter where we are on this journey, and as we continue to work towards our goals, we are going to have setbacks. So the goal here isn't to avoid setbacks altogether. It's essentially, when we do have a setback, it's how to not lose momentum. It's how to catch ourselves and understand how it's making us feel, how we're going to address the setback, and ultimately how we're going to start moving forwards again. The way that I like to look at setbacks is taking every single experience, whether it's positive or negative, as exactly that experience. It is information that we can start to process. Every single time you do something, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's easy or whether it's really hard, the outcome is you now have more information that you didn't have before. Where people get stuck is when they are so focused on achieving their goals that they just kind of head down and they just drive on forward, and they don't stop to actually understand and learn the process or really acknowledge the things which are happening around them. So if we can actually look at everything that is happening to us as information, we can start to develop new strategies and ultimately prevent any further setbacks, or just be a bit clearer about how to manage certain instances should they come up again. But as I say, you're never going to be perfect, and there are going to be things that come up, there are going to be things that completely blindside you. You could be doing this for 10, 15 years and something new that you've never even considered before could come up. And the goal here, as I've said, is to be able to take it on the chin, to calm ourselves down, and ultimately continue moving forwards. So when a setback actually happens, we want to just have an emotional pause. We want to take ourselves out of that environment as long as we can do so, and just check in with ourselves. We can use any of the tools that we spoke about in the earlier modules, whether that is the breathwork technique just to calm our nervous system down, whether that is simply meditating, or even just going through the reset cycle and just kind of getting a bit of an understanding as to what actually happened. But ultimately, we want to be able to just pause, go and do something else, because when you are in a heightened state and you feel challenged, or you feel like something didn't go to plan or it went wrong, then as long as it's not something that we need to rectify immediately, we can actually see so many benefits by just stepping away and going doing something else. So perhaps going for a walk, getting some light movement in, just to kind of reset our thought process and reset our body before we return and actually figure out, okay, why did that go wrong? Or what didn't I see, and what can I learn from this experience? Like everything we do in this course, it's important to allow the frustration to come up. It's important to understand the emotional response that we have and allow ourselves to be human, because it is going to be super frustrating when you have a setback. I've recently had an injury and I felt like I was really progressing with my fitness, and I felt like I was getting myself into a much healthier state of mind with my body and my image, but also I was progressing with surfing and I was really enjoying my time surfing. And then I got injured, and I've had 3 months of rehab and trying to rebuild. And there's been times where I have felt like everything was going well. I felt like I started to have a bit more routine and my body was sort of coming back online. My nervous system was calming down. And then I remember I got home from walking the dog, and I've literally reached down to take my shoe off, and I felt my hamstring just have a sharp pain, and it was infuriating. I remember just sat there thinking, not again. It's been 2-3 months of really difficult frustration, not being able to do the things I want to do, and I just felt like everything had fallen apart. But the important thing is not to spiral. It's not to look at it from the position of everything that you've done has completely gone out the window and it's time to revert back to type. It's time to give up. The important thing here is to stop, acknowledge what's happened. In my case, I got on the phone to one of my friends and I just explained what's happened. We came up with a bit of a plan as to how to move forwards, because ultimately it wasn't as bad as I felt it was emotionally. And sometimes that emotional response can completely cloud logic. It can completely cloud reason. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. In fact, we want that to happen, because once the emotion comes up, we can allow ourselves to process it. We can let it pass by using any of those sort of self-soothe tools or doing something different to separate yourself from what's happened. And then we can come back to it with a clearer head, because we can start to think a bit more logically and we can start to understand what actually happened and what actually went wrong. And the great thing is once we shift into this space where we don't fear mistakes happening and we don't fear these setbacks, because we understand that we can catch ourselves and we can continue to move forward, we'll find a different way. We can really enter this kind of flow state with a sort of trial and error mindset where nothing becomes as scary and nothing becomes as difficult to try and to start, because you now understand that every single step you take, you're gathering information. It is a trial and you're comfortable with making mistakes. You're comfortable with getting it wrong because you know that you can catch yourself. And that's where you can really start to kind of have fun with it. And you'll ultimately, if you've ever played video games, just kind of feel like you're leveling up your character, because you will go and try and do something. It might not work. You might need to come up with a different approach, a different tactic, or you might need to go and do a little bit more learning and then come back to it at a later date. And that's where being able to handle setbacks will really set you apart from someone that, when they have a setback, and I've definitely been guilty of this in the past, is I would have completely overreacted and been like, right, I'm not doing this. It's clearly not going to work. I'm giving up. And the only person that affects and the only person it impacts is me. The only person that it stops from moving forward is me. So if you can move into this headspace where you can take accountability, you have confidence in yourself that whatever comes up, you can handle it and you can deal with it, you can really start to find the confidence to keep taking steps forward, which is ultimately going to make you more successful, it's going to make you more confident, and it's going to make you feel like you can achieve your goals, whether they're small or whether they're large. So that was just a short lesson on setbacks. Obviously, we cannot see what is going to happen. We can't understand something from point A all the way through to point Z, so we need to anticipate these setbacks. It's great if we can think that something might happen and therefore we're going to put this in place just in case, but we will always be blindsided and there will always be things that we don't expect. This is not about perfection. It's about being confident in our own ability to catch ourselves and our own ability to make changes, make adjustments in order to just take a slightly different route and come back round and keep moving forward. Forward is the motion, the path is negotiable always. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one.